On December 20th, President Biden's personal counsel informed Mr. Lausch that additional documents bearing classification markings were identified in the garage of the president's private residence in Wilmington, Delaware. President Biden's counsel informed Mr. Lausch that those documents were among other records from the period of the president's service as vice president. The FBI went to the location and secured those documents. On January 5th, 2023, Mr. Lausch briefed me on the results of his initial investigation and advised me that further investigation by a special counsel was warranted.
Apparently, classified documents were not the only thing that was taken and stashed in multiple places. Apparently, Merrick Garland's microphone was too, because that sucked. But still, he's talking about the investigation, things that are going on. How now there's a trickle, slow drip of classified documents being found in an old office that he had when he was some kind of professor for Penn, and now inside of his own Delaware residence, next to his nice 1967 Corvette. I can appreciate that ride. He's been grilled about this, asked about it. Speculation's been happening, comparisons, non-comparisons, doesn't matter. Ducey over there at Fox News, who grills a lot of the folks in these press conferences, decided to go after Biden, and he had to answer these questions. Let's watch that.
Classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street. But anyway, was in a locked garage. Yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. The Department of Justice was immediately notified, and the lawyers arranged for the Department of Justice to take possession of the document. So we're going to see all this unfold. I'm confident. Thank you very much.
So the long-awaited response from the president over this whole thing was, he was reading off of some of the notes that he was supposed to be saying to hit those points. But when they catch him about his Corvette, and yes, it was locked in my very secure garage, it leads to more of the speculation and more of the political fighting and the back and forth and the revenge tour. Let's keep it real, of the point of trying to equate the two situations. As a matter of fact, Lindsey Graham tried to do that as well too. He's just not very good at it. Watch that.
Trump for mishandling classified information after this has gone down dramatically.
Well, to be fair, there were other reporters in the room who did ask questions about this. They were summarily shut down. And most of the coverage that I've seen in other places is about how very different these two situations are. They say, the former president was stonewalling, returning these documents. They had been requested. They've been negotiating over it for quite some time. And that's the difference. So comment on that for me, if you would, first, and then I have another question.
Well, number one, can you imagine if this happened? The answers given by the White House are nonsensical. If there's not a special counsel appointed to find out how this happened with President Biden regarding classified information, there is going to be a lot of it will hurt the country.
Did you guys follow what he's talking about there? Or is it just to make sure he gets to that one point? There must be a special counsel, because this is totally unfair. Merrick Garland over here appointing special counsels for the former president, but look what he's not doing at all here as it comes to the current president. Look how biased this administration is and this Department of Justice. Next shot, you guys.
I'm here today to announce the appointment of Robert Hur as a special counsel pursuant to Department of Justice regulations governing such matters. In keeping with those regulations, I have today notified the designated members of each House of Congress of the appointment.
He just didn't do it quickly enough, I guess. One more piece though, since he didn't do it quickly enough, this whole thing started on maybe about a month ago. How long did it take for him to appoint a special counsel for President Trump's? I think we have some answers there. The FBI executives, they executed a search warrant on Mar-a-Lago, a major escalation in the classified documents investigation. This is back on August 8th of 2022. The search focused on the area of the club where Trump's offices and personal quarters are located. Federal agents removed boxes of material from the property. The search was the first time in American history that a former president's home was searched as part of a criminal investigation on August 8th. How about that special counsel, how quickly Senator Graham there wanted things to be appointed? Well, It was November 18th. August 8th, November 18th. Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed the Justice Department's former public integrity chief, Jack Smith, on Friday, again in November, to oversee the Justice Department's criminal investigations involving the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. And as I pointed out about a month ago, is when these things started being found at Joe Biden's residences and offices and things like that, it took them about a month. December 20th to then now. What else can they complain about, Ben? I mean, again, there's some parallels as far as documents being taken and not knowing where they are, and I can't believe you took it, and what's the situations, but there's so many differences that are purposely overlooked and ignored, is all for the sake of more political arguments.
Of course it is. Of course, this story points out exactly all the things that are very stupid about our politics and about the way these stories are typically covered by a lot of the press and certainly by the right-wing press. It is just very, very wild. Couple of things. Yes, obviously there are big differences that Lindsey Graham can't articulate because he was probably out drinking late last night. And that's just my assumptions. But he doesn't realize the major differences: stonewalling, hiding, fighting the documents coming out. That said, Biden, very, very bad news here for Biden. So hypocritical. And you don't know if it's because maybe Biden didn't remember taking these documents. Maybe it's because he just never thought that he would be caught because the forces were against Trump. But Biden looks very, very bad here, and his arguments, both off the cuff and then unprepared statement, didn't do him any favors.
I'm not sure what the plan is. Like, can you imagine what then? Okay, political consultants, advisors, all that stuff. Because there's a bit of chaos. They said there was a chaotic administrative shuffle when they were coming out of the White House, and maybe that's part of it. Whatever it is, there's always this a line of, I guess, response from any politician, which is, let's not really say much. Lots of stuff always comes out and it makes you look worse when you don't say it.
Yeah, and Biden is nowhere near as good at Trump at covering up for stuff. At least Trump throws out a million excuses. He has things that he posts that at least are somewhat well thought out for a crazy person. Everything Biden said made no sense. Firstly, he says, well, it was locked near my Corvette in a garage. Like, that's supposed to make you feel, but then he goes, and by the way, my Corvette was not in the street. Yeah, if it was locked near the Corvette, we understand it wasn't in the street. People don't have cabinets in the streets. But if a car supposedly is a thing that gets driven sometimes, that garage door is going up and down. It makes it one of the least secure locked rooms that there is. It also seemed like he was trying to just flex that he had a Corvette. 3 times he's like, near my Corvette, by the way.
Actually, what I saw was, I feel like many teams, specifically Deuce here, they were bringing that up so people could hear and go, oh, so he's got a Corvette, a coveted Corvette. And it comes to that then reference without saying it out loud. You know, these elitists and their expensive fancy cars, which, by the way, all of them have.
But Biden, for sure they do, but Biden owned it. He was like, by the way, near my Corvette, got a Corvette. He definitely owned that back. And then he reads a prepared statement that he can barely read. And I don't know how you mess up a prepared statement that's written in front of you. And he ends it by saying, I'm confident this will all unfold. Yeah, we're all confident it's gonna unfold. That's not, wait, I'm sorry, what's that? Oh, but why would right now you're giving, okay, I don't know why would being handed classified documents during
everywhere.
The broadcast. I'm just gonna save that for later. I'm not gonna open that on air because I shouldn't even have that.
Is it next to your Corvette?
It was. I don't know how it jumped.
But this is the thing though. And okay, so some people look like they're defending it now. Media is this way and slandered and all that stuff. I hear you. I just think it's so much easier to go forward and say things straight up. And then if something is actually more nefarious happening, we will find that out too.
Right, hiding it and not hiding it is everything of different. That is everything of different. I mean, it's very bad. Biden is in big trouble as well, and it should be. But I love everybody on the right jumping to conclusions, acting as though people on the left aren't gonna make a big deal of this. This is a big deal. If it's a big deal for Trump, it's a big deal for Biden. But there's also extra big deals that make it far worse, is that Trump kept trying to hide it, kept trying to steal it, was stonewalling, had to fight for, it was more than even those 2 months because he was fighting for a year not to give all the documents back and kept not giving the full amounts for like 9 months or something. So it is very different. But we do know Biden's got a Corvette. That's the good news.
Yeah, I figure law enforcement in a situation would call this suspicious activity, so they look further than the person who's hiding and dodging and lying.